Now, anyone who knows me knows I don't do dogs. Really, any animals, but for this, let's just focus on dogs, okay? I didn't have pets growing up. None of my friends had pets. The only people in my immediate family who had pets were my auntie, who was kind of like a crazy cat lady, and she would feed the alley cats and then bring one in every now and then. And my grandma, who always had a dog, but my grandma was an old black woman from the South who firmly believed that dogs belong outside. My whole childhood, I never saw that dog get walked, never went to the vet. Growing up, I thought all dogs ate leftover fried pork chops and collard greens, grits and eggs, little piece of biscuit, whatever. It wasn't until I grew up I realized, oh no, dogs actually eat dog food. And people really love their dogs. I would see them out. I see y'all walking your dog in the cold, in the rain, in the snow, picking up poop. I said, couldn't be me. Hello. So a few years ago, I was running the streets and I met this guy. I know, old school, right? So there was no catfishing. I knew right away that he was real life tall, dark, and fine. His name was Kevin, and above, beyond the physical, he was funny and easygoing and charming, and we had this instant passion and electricity, something that had been lacking in my last relationship. And so we were both hooked instantly. So naturally, we became friends with benefits. But it went beyond that because beyond the physical, there were nights we would just spend hours on the phone, talking and laughing and sharing our hopes, dreams, and goals. Or there was a time when I had a mouse in my house, DC living, and he came over and he rearranged all the traps just so. And he said, when we come downstairs, that thing gonna be caught. And it was. Oh, my hero. So about a year and a half into this gray area, we looked at each other and we were like, we ain't getting no younger. Should we try this? Should we try to be in a real relationship? Now listen, at the time I was in my early 40s. I knew I wasn't gonna get married or wasn't gonna have kids. I wasn't pressed to be married, and I wasn't even pressed to be in a relationship. And if I was gonna be in a relationship, it couldn't be no bullshit, okay? Also, I still like to run the streets, which is not conducive to relationship. And above all that, I knew that relationships take time and effort and work and energy and give and take and considering somebody's feelings and compromise. Case in point, as soon as I say, okay, yeah, let's try this relationship thing, he says, man, I wish I could bring my dog over. And I was like, what? When you get a dog? And he said, yeah, I got a puppy. I got a pit bull. A pit bull? You want to bring a pit bull in my house? Now, anyone who knows me knows I don't do dogs. Really, any animals, but for this, let's just focus on dogs, okay? I didn't have pets growing up. None of my friends had pets. The only people in my immediate family who had pets were my auntie, who was kind of like a crazy cat lady, and she would feed the alley cats and then bring one in every now and then. And my grandma, who always had a dog, but my grandma was an old black woman from the South who firmly believed that dogs belong outside. My whole childhood, I never saw that dog get walked, never went to the vet. Growing up, I thought all dogs ate leftover fried pork chops and collard greens, grits and eggs, little piece of biscuit, whatever. It wasn't until I grew up I realized, oh no, dogs actually eat dog food. And people really love their dogs. I would see them out. I see y'all walking your dog in the cold, in the rain, in the snow, picking up poop. I said, couldn't be me. I didn't want to do no dogs. I don't even want to do no man who had a dog. Before I met Kevin, I had been dating this dude. I went over to his house. He opened the door. There's a big-ass dog behind him that he did not tell me about. I stayed, mainly to see what that mouth do, okay? And in the middle of the night, when we were asleep in the bed, the dog jumped up on the bed. I panicked. The dude was all nonchalant. I said, get your dog off this bed. in retrospect, the dog was probably like, bitch, you in my spot, right? But that didn't matter. As soon as the sun came up, I was gone, and I never saw that man again. And it was because of that dog, okay? But here was Kevin talking about, I want to bring my dog over. Now, maybe I was a little digmatized. Maybe I was falling in love. But I said, sure, you can bring your dog over, right? And he comes over. His name was Bama. My DC people, y'all know. And he was gray with little white patches. He was so small and cute, but I was like, nah, he's still a pit bull. And I told him, I was like, this is your dog. I'm not doing anything to help you out, right? But as our relationship progressed, I realized that Kevin had been a great friend with benefit, but he was an even better boyfriend. He would make me breakfast almost every morning, and he could get those scrambled eggs just right. He always picked the perfect avocado that he would cut up and then serve me with my breakfast. And he made the best batches of popcorn. I'm talking about old school, on the stove, just the right amount of butter and salt. One day when I was taking out the trash, she said, hey, you don't do that no more. That's what I do. Oh! As an acts of service girlie, he was hitting all the spots, right? Oh my God, yes. But it wasn't just all the things that he was doing for me. He was a safe space. He encouraged me to follow my creative pursuits. He supported my endeavors. And as a strong, independent Black woman, I was like, oh, it feels so good to finally have someone take the weight off. Like, is this what Terry McMillan meant when she said waiting to exhale? Oh, yes. I love how he cared for me, and I love how he cared for Bama, just watching how he would notice any changes, like in his mood or his eating or his appearance. I loved watching his patience, like teaching him tricks and commands, and he would tell Bama to sit, and Bama would sit. I was like, do I have a little praise kink? No, that's for Sucker for Love After Dark, okay? I just loved it, right? So I said, okay, maybe I need to help out a little bit, right? Maybe I need to step it up as a partner. I should help out with this dog. I said, all right, best I can do is be the one who wakes up at 2 a.m. when Bama barks and open the door so he can go out and pee. That's my contribution, right? And that was mainly for selfish reasons because I didn't want the dog to pee and poop on my floors, okay? That's all that I was doing. And then Kevin started to get tricky. And he would say, hey, do you want to come for a walk with me and Bama? No, not really. But I love being with him, so I would go and we would talk and reminisce, talk about our childhood. Sometimes we would go to Haynes Point, sit, watch the water, and talk about our future, and Bama would be there, his tail a wagging. And then he would say, no, this is how I hold the leash. And when we come to the corner, I make him sit. What you telling me all this for? I don't need to know this. I'm never walking this dog ever. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? But then I got sick, like some kind of cold flu thing, and I'm in the bed, tissues, high off cold medicine, and here comes Kevin with a homemade bowl of chicken noodle soup without cooked carrots, because he knows I hate cooked carrots. And who's right behind him? Bama, just tail wagging, right? And Bama stayed by my side knowing that I was sick. So I had to have a come to Diana moment. I said, oh, look at this man showing up for me and caring for me, and look at this dog, like, girl, I'm trying to love you too. And I'm just resistant, I'm fighting it. I said, maybe I need to lean into this a little more and be a better partner. So one day, I volunteered to walk the dog alone. Oh, and you know what? It wasn't terrible. I actually liked it, right? And so I said, okay, this isn't bad. And so when Kevin would have a hard day or be tired, I would walk Bama more. Until suddenly, months passed, I looked up and I became one of those people, walking the dog in the rain, in the cold, in the snow, picking up poop. And then I said, I wonder what Martha Stewart feeds her dogs. And I Googled. And then I started making homemade dog food. Sometimes I even let Bama lick my face, and you know black people don't be doing that. Oh my God. But really, the trade-off was so worth it because Kevin let me be myself, which meant sometimes I was still running these streets. And when I would come home, Bama would be waiting for me, tail wagging, and Kevin would be waiting for me with a fresh bowl of hot popcorn, just perfect. And then eventually we'd go to bed, and Kevin and I would get in bed. And you know, that's the best time as lovers. You're just talking and giggling and sharing secrets. And then Bama would jump up on the bed. That's right, I said Bama would jump up on the bed. And the three of us would snuggle together. And even though it was nothing that I would have planned for myself, it was actually a piece that I had been craving, and it was pretty perfect. Thank you.